in a family of elite combat athletes and top-tier performers. The final boss has always stood out, even when he was just a blue chipper. But there wouldn't be a final boss, there wouldn't even be a bloodline if it wasn't for The Rock's grandfather, the High Chief Peter Maivia. You can think of him as the first boss. Predecessor to the tribal chief.
He is one of, if not the foundation for our family. The Anawa'i Fatu Miavia wrestling dynasty. I don't think there's anybody more responsible for what's going on now than the High Chief himself.
Peter Maivia isn't simply one of the two principals behind the sacred blood bond. He's also an incredibly decorated professional wrestler who traveled the world and won titles everywhere he went. New Zealand, Japan, Europe, and here in the United States, where he enjoyed especially successful runs in Hawaii and California. Maivia would eventually find his way to WWE, engaging in legendary battles with the likes of superstar Billy Graham. His larger-than-life personality would win the WWE Universe over in short order, as it had throughout his entire career. In the ring, High Chief Peter Maivia was a potent blend of brawn and grappling technique, often muscling his opponents down to the mat through a variety of joint locks and then switching to more painful holds once grounded. His sleeper hold and stump puller were both feared and renowned, and make no mistake about it, Maivia knew there was always more than one path to the ultimate victory. Out of the ring, High Chief Peter Maivia also ran one of the most successful wrestling promotions on the planet, Polynesian Pro Wrestling, based out of Hawaii, showing his mastery of the business in every aspect. His induction into WWE's Hall of Fame class of 2008 was supremely deserved, forever enshrining Peter Maivia as the legend he always was. And now, we present to you the opportunity to walk in the boots of the legendary High Chief Peter Maivia, facing off against one of the most legendary WWE rivals, George the Animal Steele. You will settle this score once and forever, and showcase the overwhelming strength of Peter Maivia, which has ever since remained as a hallmark for every single solitary member of this bloodline. Steele is no easy battle, though. He thrives in the chaos, one of pro wrestling's true madmen. He'll even try to eat part of the ring if he thinks it'll help him break you down. So do your best and honor High Chief Peter Maivia properly with a resounding victory.
Uh-oh, somebody called the local zoo.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall and is a steel cage match. Introducing first, from Detroit, Michigan, weighing in at 275 pounds, George the Animal Steele.
And strolling down the aisle, the opponent of George Steele, Peter Miavia.
Always a chaotic matchup.
His opponent from the Isle of Samoa, weighing in at 275 pounds, High Chief Peter Maivia.
Steel had better keep an eye on Miavia because Miavia is a true brawler.
Few men can handle the chaos of the animal inside a steel cage, but I believe the High Chief is ready.
High Chief Peter Miavia taking on George the Animal Steel in a steel cage match. Quite a heated history between these two guys.
Yeah, Michael, and I think it's because Miavia is one of the few superstars brave enough to take on the animal. Most of their contests have ended in countouts or disqualifications. Thanks to the cage, we'll get a decisive victory in this one.
Well, that really depends on if a cage can even contain them.
Really wrenching it.
Peter Miavia very tough, but he also has movie star good looks.
Double leg takedown. Gonna stack them up here. Shoulder pin. It'll take a lot more than that to keep him down.
That unraveled on George. Oh, look at that scope slam. Fist drop. Ooh, devastating kick. Ooh. Strikes with a kick.
He dodges out of danger.
All the way up. Done gun! The High Chief just refusing to be intimidated.
The animal has no idea what to make of Miavia. Oh, a knee! Lights out.
Some folks call Peter Miavia the Flying Hawaiian, and the reasons are obvious for that moniker. But guys, how has he earned the other nickname of the High Chief?
Well, Cole, Peter Miavia is very close to the Anawahi family. In fact, Peter's considered a blood brother to the patriarch of that clan.
When you add on the fact that Miavia was born and raised in Samoa, you can see the great pride he has for that land and its people in the tribal ink that covers his body.
Boom! I think rage took over in that moment. Nothing but blind rage.
Look at Miavia going to work on the animal.
The High Chief has all the answers right now.
Peter Miavia is looking unstoppable now.
And you can see Steel is struggling to weather the storm of the High Chief.
We've seen that Steel isn't above using a foreign object to gain the edge against Miavia. So he's got to have the advantage in a match where they're surrounded by one huge weapon, right?
Well, you'd think that, Cole, but think about how these men prepared for this match. The High Chief is a consummate professional who's game planned for this stipulation. And Steel, well, I think he just shows up to the arena and asks who he's fighting.
The animal has to be elated to be in this steel cage against one of his biggest rivals, no less.
Yeah, Byron, we've seen the animal brandish a weapon against Peter Miavia before when it was against the rulers. The High Chief better be prepared for Steel to get even crazier.
Oh, Miavia is prepared, all right. The man is extremely tough and agile. In fact, the High Chief's entire body can be considered a weapon.
Snapmare. Ouch. Fist drop.
Measured up nicely.
Fist drop. Momentum is all with Miavia now.
Yeah, and Miavia has really figured the animal out here.
Ian Steel fending him off. Gentlemen, we've touched on the differences between Miavia and Steel as competitors. One man based on order, the other on chaos, but it's reflected in their looks, too.
Indeed, Michael. Just look at the sculpted physique of the High Chief. And the tribal tattoos on his body are extremely intricate and definitely eye-catching.
And Steel is, well, he's an ugly creature. Enough hair on his upper torso to classify as fur. Folds in his bald head. He's like a modern-day Neanderthal. Pulled back into the hip toss.
Uh-oh, he could be looking for a submission here.
A stump puller.
All kinds of pressure and pain being inflicted on the leg by this hold.
Now, even if you
He had it locked in. I didn't expect him to just let go.
I don't know what he's thinking, but he needs to focus on the task at hand.
Oh, man. George the Animal Steel might be a bit of an underdog here. In fact, he lost the match by countout to the High Chief.
In Steel's defense, I'm not sure he knows how to count exactly or how to read a rule book. So he's got to be happy to be in this cage.
Well, Miavia is called the High Chief in part because of his commanding presence in the ring. He's more than ready for what the animal will throw at him, even inside a cage.
And look at this.
Ooh, man, backbreaker. Does Peter Miavia have this sewn up?
There's two. And the High Chief defeats the animal.
Here is your winner, High Chief Peter Miavia.
Anytime these two have faced off, it's been eye for an eye. But the steel cage has finally delivered a decisive victory for the High Chief, Peter Miavia.
George Steele is one tough animal, but the way Miavia faced him in the cage tonight just reinforced what everyone already knew, that the High Chief is one tough Samoan.